Welcome back to another Purpose Serve podcast episode. I'm your host, Daryl Wingfield. If you guys are new to this channel, please like, subscribe, um, download the podcast, review, give me 5 stars. This is going to be a great episode today. Today, we're going right back in the mind of Daryl and basically what I've been going through as of late. And I would want to say I went through a metamorphosis over the weekend. I played in this one-on-one, John, this Saturday, I believe, and I lost 11-7, which did a number on my mental. It put me in a dark place, man, to the point where I felt as though I shouldn't have lost even going into the game, even after the game. I didn't feel like the person that I played against was better than me, But he did beat me. That one I'm not knocking. I did lose, But it's something in me that I would want to say it lit a spark. It took a while for it to happen, but it did happen. And what made that trigger happen, it made me start thinking about how I've been spending my days, how I've been spending my time, and what's been the purpose of every day, and what am I trying to get out of every single day. I know in my head what I'm trying to get done, but not seeing it manifested somewhere, like I would want to say writing it down on paper or anything, kind of made me realize that I can kind of let the days just go through, and I go through the motions with doing things now. I may be doing things aligning to what the mission at hand is, for example, recording podcasts, working on my brand, practicing. I realized that I could do a better job at all of it. And experiencing that shortcoming made me honestly want to dish that feeling out that every single person when I step on the court from here on out. That seems like a little extreme, but for me it isn't. For me, I feel like that's the right thing to do. And back to my schedule, and to this day, I'm working on a schedule. Now, this schedule is literally wrapped around me being the very best basketball player that I can be, because with everything that's been going on with my life as of late, basketball hasn't been the priority, Everything else that came because of basketball have been a priority. And I figured that I told myself, I got to give myself this push, I got to give myself this honest push and get to the best that I can very well get to when it comes to the game of basketball. And I lost sight of the lessons that basketball has taught me through the ups and downs. Especially I talk about the downs all the time. And to real life give y'all a recap of me experiencing that downward part, a part of this journey. This is it right now, and I was so mad. I got in my brother's car and I just started punching the dashboard, I just kept punching the dashboard, messed my hands up pretty good. You guys probably can't see it in the video, but I'm sitting there looking at my shorts and I'm like, why does my shorts have blood on them? And then after that, I started looking at my hands and I was like, oh, geez, yo, you have to chill. It's not that deep, And it really wasn't. And even in that environment and that atmosphere, it felt good, man. I'm not even going to lie. I knew that going in there that I was the underdog. I was the underdog on the card. Everybody was going to be literally betting against me, pretty much everybody, but that didn't affect me going into it, and I didn't honestly shape my opinion on if I was going to do it or not. I'm the type of person at this point that when I see a challenge present itself, especially when it's going to get me closer to my goals and my dreams, especially with the game of basketball, I won't hesitate to do it. So I thought. But yeah, I did it anyway, and I started off the game well, took the lead 4-1, and then slowly but surely, I started losing, giving away a lot of free shots, that's pretty much how I lost. But once I got like I said, back home behind closed doors, I was pissed off, and I felt as though I needed to do something about it, and I didn't know how I was going to go about it, because the loss completely shocked me, because I told you guys I wasn't expecting to lose, and that told me that I need to start building a training regimen that I'm religious by, and God honest truth, for me doing that and accepting that I was going to do that, I realized that there was going to be a huge, huge commitment from here on out when it comes to that. Oh, and before I continue, for those that's watching this on YouTube, take a look at Titan, my dog. Titan, say what's up. You guys probably can't see him, but this is him right here. Say what's up, Titan. He chilling with me for the podcast today. Yeah, so if you're a dog person, please subscribe. I love dogs, and look at him. Look how cute Titan is. But yeah, side note, just had to introduce him to the podcast, to the PS family. But back to it, I was really upset, and I haven't got that way in a long time. I've been riding this high horse that I've been on with everything that I've been doing, due to the fact that, I've been really productive and getting things done. But I realize it's not at the magnitude that I want, and also I'm slacking when I shouldn't be slacking, and setting a schedule and sticking with that schedule. If you're really willing and committed to yourself, that is going to open the door for allowing you to say no to things that you should be saying no to right now. And there's a inherent sacrifice that literally comes with that. And I talk about sacrifice all the time on this podcast, because on this journey of fulfilling your dreams or your goals and, your aspirations or obligations, you're going to have to give something up. Whether that's time, whether that's, your family, your partner, your spouse, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, husband, wife, or whatever. You're going to have to know that something is going to give, And for me personally, I believe that this is when things get rocky in people's lives, due to the fact that the concept that I do talk about on this podcast is just that sacrifices are being made whether you like it or not. It's going to be either made immediately or it's going to get made in the long run for you. So you might as well choose what that immediate sacrifice is, so you don't have to deal with the sacrifice you can't control in the long run. Now, let me give you guys an example with that concept, just with my life personally. Now, right before my mom gave me the boot, I would want to say I was living kind of stupid. I was telling my mom, well, not even telling, lying to her, saying that I had a job at a warehouse, when really I was scraping by every day, doing things like using my boy car for Lyft, going under the alias Randy. Now, Randy, I won't want to say that's a gas. I can't say what the real name actually is, but let's just say Randy. you know. And there was this one time I met a lot of interesting people as Randy. I met this one girl as Randy, and I pretty much convinced her and her whole family that I was Randy. You know, talked to her for probably like, I want to say 4 to 5 months, staying over her house and all of that. You know, things kept getting crazier and crazier and crazier and crazier. Mind you, this girl had a boyfriend, you know, but like I said, I was reckless. I didn't really care. And at the same time, a friend of mine was trying to cook up a hat business that, you know, we was trying to start up. And around that time, I wasn't really sacrificing anything. I was just trying to get by the easiest way possible. And this is part of me, you know, I would want to say, just trying to look out for me and nobody else but myself, you know. And as time went on, I just started slipping up more and more and more and just becoming more and more reckless, to the point where, like I said, the one time I came home, I was a little messed up. This was probably like, I want to say 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. This was, I think, New Year's Day. And I got in my house and I went in the refrigerator. My mom was working on her computer. I went upstairs in my room. She followed behind me. And then after that, I'm sitting down on my bed and I look up and she's standing in my doorway and she's looking me square in my eyes. And I'm like, oh, God. Well, Daryl, yeah, did it again, you know. And my mom's a cop. So she gave me the finger testing going side to side. And then she was just like, Daryl, you're going to have to go ASAP, as soon as possible, get out this house. I didn't argue with her. I didn't compromise. The one thing I did tell her, I was like, I don't got no money. I don't got no job. I don't got no car. And it's in the middle of winter. What do you expect me to do? You know, and she was like, figure something out. And at that point, I didn't argue. I was just like, I bet I'm going to figure something out. But that was the point where, after that conversation, my mental borderline went to rock bottom. And I realized within that 24 to 36 hour process that I was in a crossroads in my life. I can continue down finessing, doing what I got to do to get by every day, and then at the same time try to have fun throughout the day, seeking pleasures and stuff like that. And or I could go after something that I didn't think was possible and also try to change my circumstances and other people circumstances around me through me chasing my dream. So I remember I got this blue notebook, and in this blue notebook I wrote down that I'm going to be the first player in NBA history to not play in high school or college. Now, I never had the thought of going to the NBA and seriously trying or considering it until that moment, because before that point I was on the fence, like, I'm too old, I'm not tall, all of this, like, there's no way I can make it. I don't even have the experience. But for me being at a place of rock bottom, it made me kind of think irrational and believe in that irrational mind, you know. And I remember I was staying over a friend's house and he let me use his bike. And I rode that bike everywhere, you know, in winter. I rode it to work when it was snowing. I used to ride it to other towns to get to the gym, to even put up shots. But I told myself around that time, you know, that I was going to start buckling down and I couldn't fuck up anymore, you know. Mom, if you heard that, I do apologize. But yeah, you know, I realized that I had to really start buckling down. And that's why I say about 3 years ago, that's when that transformation started happening with me to the person that you see now. It was a 3-year process. And even with what just transpired this weekend with the one-on-one that I told you and what you guys just heard about, what mission that I accepted back in January, now you guys can see why when I lost, why it affected me so much. It really, really hit home, and I put my all into this, especially the game of basketball. I've sacrificed my family time. I sacrificed my love life. I sacrificed my time with my friends, and I even sacrificed sleep that I know that I should be getting, because at the moment, this is the most important thing to me, and I will treat it as such. So when most people, it's hard for them to make those sacrifices. If you want something that bad, you will do it and you won't second guess it. I'll look at it, and this is a great perspective for you guys to understand if you're listening to this, especially if you've been this far on the journey. If you knew that reward was going to be there, if you committed yourself to what you was trying to do, adopt that mindset. That's what I had to do on so many given moments, especially when times got incredibly hard and I fell flat on my face. I've reverted now as of late to planning. That's been my go-to for things and setting landmarks for myself when it comes to being somewhere or achieving a goal in a timely manner. I go back to my plan instead of leaving everything to chance. There's so many intangibles that we're not in control of, and that's why you got your ideal version, and that's why you got your reality. The reality is this is what it was going to be no matter what. Ideally, this is what you think you want it to be, best case scenario. But the truth is not in your ideal, but in the reality. And through your ideal, you have to modify what your truth is through what the absolute truth is. And I'm learning that through setting plans where my faults and my flaws lie, and a decent amount of my schedule was me not really taking advantage of the things that's tangible, and also when it comes to basketball, I want to say a little arrogant, God honest truth in regards to I've been feeling as though if I do go to practice or anything, I don't I don't gotta go that hard, and I'm still without a car. Next couple of weeks, hopefully I'll get one. So that's been affecting me as well. But majority of my energy has been going to Purpose Served and this brand and cooking up these ideas that I have for you guys that's a part of this podcast and even the Purpose Served journey for those of you that's out there serving your purpose. I pray that I'm having a profound effect on y'all lives, because I feel as though from at first it was awkward me talking to the camera and there's no audience, and it felt like I was talking to myself. But through this whole entire experience, I've learned that I'm not talking to myself, but I'm talking to people that's similar to me, that care about the same things that I care about, that's interested in the things that I'm interested in regards to the pursuit of being the best version of yourself. And for me, I don't hide from that. I used to hide from it all the time. Any chance I get, I hide from it. And I take those little bit of times when I feel extra motivated to do something about, you know, chasing my higher purpose. But a lot of this stuff came from me trial by error and not having somebody that's been on a similar journey as me guide me and be my mentor through it all. So that's what I'm doing through my experience. If those of you don't have that in your own personal lives, you know, if you're playing tennis or football and you don't have that trainer or coach that's telling you, you know, to go work on your serve every day, go out and hit the sled every day, you know, or if you're an artist, go out and paint, go out and draw every day. If you don't have that motivation or anything, this is what this podcast about. You hear this podcast, you should immediately at some given point in your day contribute to your dreams, goals, and aspirations. That is the mission for Purpose Serving, and that is for damn sure the mission of this podcast. You know, we don't get enough of that. And I accepted that mission. It seemed like a huge mission to accept, but like I said, I don't shy away from things. And also, I realized that this podcast is starting to turn into its thing of its own, and I'm not going to sit here and try to dictate that. You know, my tangible is showing up and doing the work. And if you guys didn't catch, I will want to say podcast episode 9, Follow Your Muse. I'm surprised I remember that. Then that's pretty much what I just talked about in the last, like, I want to say minute and a half, you know? And for me, the best and biggest feelings that I got was along the lines of going down this pursuit, you know? And the worst feelings that I got when I wasn't aligned to this, you know? And it took me 23 years for me to figure out a decent amount of this stuff out. And I still know that there's a lot to be learned out here in this world. But there's a couple of things that I realize I can't let shake me. And shortcomings, adversities, and failures, those are the ones that's like, you know, that can be a big problem. They could sneak up on you. But they could also immobilize you in fear that you failed, that you don't want that feeling again. So why even go down that pursuit, you know? And for that, it's all mental, you know? And it's not the end-all be-all. It's only the end-all be-all if you decide to quit and not do something about it, you know? The very worst thing that I could have done on Saturday after that loss was to quit. Absolutely the worst thing. And talking to my good friend Steve, you know, who was talking me through it, he was just telling me, like, listen, which he always do. This is the same dude that gave me the Boston Market pep talk. But he just brought it to my attention, like, you know, don't take this that hard, you know? And that this is like, you know, think about quitting and if you was to stop. And he also said, think about your mindset before the actual game, you know, and if winning would have affected your mental. And I told him no, it wouldn't have. I still would be on the same pursuit. So this is when I started getting these ideas to go about planning. And once I did start planning out my days based off of, for example, if you have your work schedule, I did mine from 6 a.m. to 11 o'clock p.m. Took out the days that I work, all of that, and see what's just left. And I realized every single day, Monday through Friday, I got 8 hours of free time. Now it's about what am I doing with those 8 hours of free time, because it didn't seem like I had 8 hours of free time. It seemed like I had way less than that. It seemed like I had like 20 minutes of free time, But from looking at that, I realized that, all right, I could properly plan my rest. I could properly plan my basketball schedule, and I could properly plan out what I have to do for this brand. And it was an eye opener. And it also told me, like I said at the very beginning of this podcast, of when you set out like a schedule, like what to say no to. It's easier, depending on how willing you are to get whatever task that you accepted of yourself done. It all boils down to how serious you are about yourself, and are you willing to give up what you need to give up in order for you to get to that destination that you set for yourself. And it is possible. And I realize that every day. But when you just, when you have to do something and then you start second guessing it naturally, and then you end up finding something to do rather than do that. And then not only that, you push it for tomorrow, but then the next day you get that same thinking process again, and you realize that you shouldn't have did that yesterday, but now you presented with a new opportunity today. So you like, all right, I'm going to go about doing it exactly how I did it before. The same exact way. I'm going to think about what I'm going to do instead of doing what I'm not going to do. And then next thing you know, 20 years go by. Wasn't expecting that, did you? But yeah, that's how quickly things tend to escalate and how fast this life moves, man. We got to be cognizant and mindful about our daily actions, our daily activities, and even our mental when going about them is so important, It's extremely important. That's why writing things down for me is important. If you got notes or anything on your phone that you could just type in, do that as well. Start taking these things serious, And right now, before I even take action, this is my preparation phase, and this is critical for me. This is a critical step for me, because after my schedule was done, I told myself, you all in, and this is what it is, until you realize that there's a improvement that you must make in regards to your scheduling, or something has to switch in regards to the criteria what you're trying to get out of your day every day, And that's why I'm telling you guys this, and that's why I even told you guys where I even fell short at when I wasn't planning. I was never the planning type. Not at all. My days was always spontaneous, and I lived like that. God honest truth, probably like from 16 to like 23, where I treated every day spontaneous. But the more that wasn't in the realm of basketball and time kept going on, the more my destructive behavior started revving up. And also I started detouring away from the path that I intentionally set myself on when I was, want to say, 12 years old, 13 years old, Make the commitment to yourself. Just make the commitment. It's so many different valuable lessons that you can learn from chasing that pursuit of what makes you, and what brings the best out of you, and what challenges you, and build that inventory on your weaknesses and the things that make you grow, because that's so important. And for me, I'm even starting to think about my next generation for when I bring kids into the world, and I don't want to be reckless my whole life, and live like I'm 19, 20 years old. Granted, I did have mad fun when I did, but I knew that I had to end it at some point, and thank God that I did. because I got out best case scenario, and I'm happy that I'm not dead somewhere or in jail somewhere. Because that high key could have been the situation in so many different scenarios if they would have played out, you know, not in my favor so much, you know. But I did get lucky a handful of times. And don't take advantage of these days if they're being blessed to you. We all know somebody that's not here at this very moment, and moved on, from this life to another. And you don't want your dreams to be short lived. You want to live your life to the fullest because, like I said, this window that we living in, it opens and closes really, really quickly. And it may not seem like it when you going through the motions of things that you don't like, and time may seem like, yo, it's going forever. But you're going to look back at life when you turn 50, 60, God's will, and be like, what did I do with all of that time and where did it go? I remember just being a kid. I remember just this, and that. But that's how it is, And these days just go like that. So be in your days, man. Be a tactician. Be serious about it. Set the tone for your days and do what you gotta do to serve your purpose. If you guys like this podcast episode, please like, share, subscribe, download. I'm on iHeartRadio. I'm on Spotify. I'm on YouTube. Follow on Instagram. Follow on Twitter, Facebook. I even got a TikTok. Follow me on TikTok. You know what I'm saying? But thank you guys for tuning in to the podcast always, man. I love y'all. Serve your purpose. Deuces. Sorry, Titan.